A property developer wants to demolish an old block of flats to turn it into a shopping center. An 85-year-old man refuses to accept any payout as he's built his life inside the flat. You are the arbitrator of the case. What would be your ruling? And let's start off with the first person over there, Digita ID. A very welcome to you. We would love to hear your thoughts.
I'm sure you wouldn't.
Anything goes in the Dilemma Lounge. This is your place to share your ideas.
I'll pass it on. I'll definitely pass this one on.
All right. Let's go to Dinger. Dinger, very welcome to you to the Moral Dilemma. This is the second one for the day. Behind us is the dilemma, and we would like to hear your thoughts. If you would like to speak or pass. Dinger bell. All right. If you want to speak later, then you can raise your hand and participation. Vincent, your thoughts.
I'm still reading it. I'll come back to me when I have my thoughts.
I will. No, raise your hand as soon as you're ready. Waldo Emerson.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I'd say, like, the first thing that comes to my mind, like, from a utilitarian perspective, I think I would kick him out and force him to, like, settle with the property developer, just because, you know, the shopping center will hold value to, you know, thousands or maybe tens of thousands of people who will go to that shopping center. Whereas if we keep the old man in his house, you know, it'll just serve to benefit that one elderly man who's probably lived there for a very long time. So he's gotten, you know, plenty of value out of living in that area. And I think him refusing to allow that area to be developed and, like, doesn't have a price at all is just being an obstacle to society. So I think as the arbiter, I would kick him out, make him settle.
Awesome.
But for a very nice price.
Thank you. Let's go to Tyler Tortured. The dilemma is behind you. Feel free to speak or pass.
I pass.
All right. Let's go to Yellow Majesty.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think that I would quit my job as an arbitrator. No, jokes aside, I think I would probably build the shopping center and offer the old man a different place to live at. So I will give him a counter offer, a much better one, but also provide him a very good price for his flat, and then also encourage him to live somewhere close to the actual shopping center so he could see the development and value incorporated into building that shopping center.
Isn't
so
there,
we have a win-win situation.
Isn't there a place in America at the moment where there are these huge buildings and there's this tiny little house that's squashed in between because they didn't want to leave their house? So is it actually
Is that Greece?
Also Greece maybe, but there's one specifically in America, and the only reason I want to go there is to see this little house squashed between a very modern building. Let's go to Snezzles. Welcome back.
Hello, I'm still trying to read it.
Yeah, go for it. Let's. I can go to Dr. Sam and then come back to you.
Yeah, if you would.
Dr. Sam.
Do you mind if you give me the megaphone? Or?
Yes.
Ready.
Look, I've got to agree with Waldo Emerson and Yellow Majesty. I think if you take the emotions out of it, this is an 85-year-old man who has reached the end of his lifespan, who I understand is extremely sentimental about the situation. And we had this in the family, where my father was 85 years of age and he refused to move from his house. So I can empathize with the old man. And often, very often, and I can tell you from my experience, very often that when you change an old person's environment, it shortens their lifespan dramatically. So taking that into consideration. On the other hand, is that you cannot allow a single individual, like Waldo Emerson said, a utilitarian thinking, to stand in the way of progress which will create employment, which will create convenience for thousands of other people. So I, as the arbitrator, would evict him, try and follow Yellow Majesty's guidance to try and make him as comfortable as possible in an alternative accommodation. But definitely I would rule in favor of the property developer.
Awesome.
As long as it's not Donald Trump.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to Vincent. Now you've had some time.
Yep, I figured it out.
We're waiting.
Think we have a pretty good consensus here. I'm with Waldo and Yellow Majesty and Dr. Sam. Although some of my bias is that I recently graduated as a business student, so I'm very attuned to how many jobs will be created by a shopping center. So, and then I won't go into it unless someone asks, but like how my more utilitarian stance here squares with the personal liberty thing that I brought up in the last moral dilemma session. If you're interested, I can explain it. But yeah, for this one, because the shopping center would provide a lot of jobs, particularly in retail, which are very valuable for people on the lower end of the economic scale and have less ability to move around chasing jobs from city to city. I think it would be a very bad social precedent to allow one person to stand in the way of that. One side solution that we can give the guy is a brand new Oculus Quest 2 and a HD 3D scan of his flat.
Good one.
That
very
is-
good, very good.
That is good. Provided that he still has his sight.
Oh, an 85-year-old blind man refuses to accept. Oh, the moral dilemma deepens.
Let's go to Snezzles.
Oh, well, I'd probably play the family and friends card to see if they can, like, convince him to move or anything like that. If not, I'd say just wait until he kicks the bucket or something. There's probably not much you can do to move him out. Well, that you could, but I'd make sure I want to do it in an honest way.
Apparently in our lifetime we're going to meet the first person that lives up to 200 years. So, I mean, that brings more social and moral dilemmas as to retirement and thoughts around that. But anyway, we'll save that. Ali, your thoughts?
Again, here I'm going to have to go against the majority rules. From an ethical point of view, this is why I'm not an arbitrator for this exact reason, one of them. I'm very empathic, so I definitely wouldn't kick him out. It's his last years. I wouldn't want him to go down in a bad psychology or in a sour sense. So I definitely wouldn't kick him out. And we already live in a materialistic world. I think it's time to start getting a little bit minimalistic in the sense of we already have so much stuff. Do we really need another shopping center? That's my opinion.
All right.
What would you do?
Well, first thing, Ali, what you would do is you would quit your job. That's what you would do.
Probably. That's
Yeah.
why I'm not an arbitrator.
Yeah. I would try and haggle in ways that, for example, if this guy is based in America and I'm sure Vincent and Waldo know better than me, is that there are ways to move your property or move your houses with trucks. You can actually transport your houses. So if it is that type of house, and I mean, if it was a big payout, then I'm sure they can afford a truck to take the house somewhere. If that doesn't work, then family and friends is important, because what is the mental state of this 85-year-old man? Is he actually using his full consciousness and awareness of, is he of his pros and cons within why he wants to keep the house? Because if he's mentally unstable, then technically he shouldn't have the right to make that decision. And that always goes with moral decisions for the unstable and the mental. If he is sane and consciously aware of all that, then you got to weigh up the probabilities as to how many lives are you going to help in order to versus one person. And it's that trolley choice, do you kill 5 people or do you kill one person? And you've always got to weigh up the probabilities, because if that guy wins the case, you've set a precedent for millions of cases that will run. And then the world will just not evolve. They'll be old-minded. They will stick to their old ways and their old generation thinking. And the world will keep staying backwards. So, yeah, I would do whatever I can to get that guy out of the house, or take his house with him on a truck, move it, and then let him be happy. Number of things. All right.
To add,
Yes.
how about getting an interior decorator so good and rebuilding the house somewhere else and totally remolding it into his house, and then just moving him without even knowing.
I love it. No, that is
He still gets his
compromise.
house.
That is compromise. And if that old man says no to that, then he is very stubborn, and I would just kick him out, give him his payout, and say, you got to make your own plans, because he's really just thinking of himself. And this world is selfish enough. They provide, the only value they provide is when they're providing a service for their own profits. And very few people actually provide value for free nowadays, and education. Table is open.
But isn't that what it's all about? The making a shopping center, right? Isn't that for profit?
Yes, but how many jobs are you providing? How many people are you making
Are
happy?
those people
How many is that
are
shopping
those
center
people that you will
required?
be employing unemployed, or do they have other jobs?
No, they don't. They don't have other jobs. You're creating new jobs. It's with all that debt that's
Right.
that's in the world, that's used for quantitative easing and pumping money to create jobs and businesses. You are going to create,
In the sense of investment, right? Yes.
absolutely. There is always going to be some guy who's making billions, but he's making billions because he's serving thousands. And if he's making billions, then he's serving millions. That's the way you should think about millionaires and billionaires. All right. So as I said, table is open. Please raise your hand if you would like to share something. And I don't know if it's from before, but Vincent, you're on the table. Feel free, raise your hands. For those who haven't spoken and have just joined.
Because this is from before. Let's see if I have anything to add real quick. Yeah, the main thing that I want to avoid in arbitrating that the guy should be moved out is, as you mentioned.
Oh, we've lost you there. Just unmute and mute yourself and try that again.
Sometimes my headset mutes itself again. So the main thing I want to avoid is adding a new section to the great American litigious state of now people, whether they be old or young, will be one person in a old apartment building that refuse to move out, so that a newer building or shopping center could be built on top of it. Because I think all of us do have a social responsibility, that we don't get unlimited personal rights. We have the basic ones like life, roof over our head, assuming that like the guy is able to move to another place without huge problems, then I think that his social responsibility as a member of society is not to hold up the economic development purely for his sentiment. If it's like he's 85 and he has medical problems that we need a whole team of doctors and he might not survive moving, then I would say just wait on building your shopping center.
Yeah. All right.
Right, that's another option.
Absolutely. All right. Anyone else want to raise their hand? The table is opened. Don't be scared. Let's go to Dr. Sam. You there, Dr. Sam?
Timon, yeah, I'm here. It just, I mean, I agree with totally what Vincent said. I just wanted to come back to what Ali said in terms of, are there people who are unemployed? I think Ali mustn't forget that there are, depending on which country you are, at any one time, so for example in South Africa where we live, at any one time there's 1.5 million students coming out of school. These are people without any formal postgraduate, post-college education. So a shopping center would be ideal for them. Coming out of university at any time, which is a graduate degree, anything up to 500,000 students a year. These young people need a job. So if we don't create employment because we felt sorry for one elderly old man who was stubborn, I think we would be doing an injustice to society. So I think that Ali's suggestion that if we reinstated this man's position as it was after the shopping center in an environment that is almost identical to what he was accustomed to, he would have no argument against it, and as the arbitrator I would rule in that favor.
All right, awesome. Yellow Majesty.
Yes. I'm just thinking a little bit, I'm thinking a little bit more in terms of my imagination about this old man. We really don't know so much about them in this case. So in reality, as an arbitrator, you would need to do some background check on this man. What if this man happens to be a serial killer? Or if this man is one of the worst political actors within that area who has caused so much pain to other people who lives in the same building? What if it's a really nasty person? That would definitely, I would say, affect our moral judgment. But the question on top of that raises, as a businessman, as an arbitrator, you're always focused on the business. So as an arbitrator, I'm not sure even if these moral issues would be a problem at all, because you're interested in doing business and creating business. So I stick to my first answer. I would probably quit my job as an arbitrator in order to actually deal with this in an ethical, moral manner. But if you look at it from the perspectives of what Vincent has been talking about and what Dr. Sam is talking about in terms of benefiting the others, then those questions would be of secondary nature, because then we are interested in helping others by, let us say, getting rid of this 86-year-old man. But finally, what I would like to say is that you always have the opportunity to provide this person a decent way of ending his,
The last years of his life.
Exactly. So if you're actually going to make him this favor, I would try to do it in a smooth and very good way, so that person doesn't feel like I've lived here all my life and this is pretty much the end of my life. And what happens? I'm kicked out of my house because of a shopping center that they're going to build there.
Yeah.
So I would try to do my best to provide this person a decent way of ending his life. Oh no, not ending his life, but living his life.
I thought about something different, just as you said, Yellow Majesty, and that is if he's a serial killer or if he is politically known in society, then this arbitrator has the opportunity, because if he's deciding to go with the shopping center property developer, then basically he can go to the media, he can go to the people, because don't you think the people should also have a right to vote if it's going to be affecting them in such a way instead of just one person? And like, if you think about it, you go to the media, it becomes blown up, it becomes a situation which will bring new information and awareness to these situations around the world, and an idea of how to move forward, because these cases are very common. Like Dr. Sam said, it's happened in his family. I actually read this moral dilemma from another family. I then saw this moral dilemma from a movie. So they are common, but the information, we don't know enough. So we are guessing, we're sucking it out of our thumb, and I actually think that it should go to the people. I believe the media should blow it out of proportion, especially when a man is stubborn in that way. But that's what this Dilemma Lounge is about, debates and arguments, and let me know in a rational way. Dr. Sam, yes.
Tim, I'm just reading through your dilemma. It says there, a property developer wants to demolish an old block of flats. So by implication, this is not a house. This is a high-rise apartment building. And we are presuming that everybody else in this apartment building was very happy with the settlement.
Yes.
Except for one
Yes.
old man. So if
Yes.
everybody else was happy with the settlement must have been an exceptionally good settlement, and this is probably an obstinate old man. Now, getting back to what Yellow Majesty said, maybe he is obstinate purely because there are underlying factors that he needs to stay there, like being a serial killer or being a political activist undermining whatever's going on. And therefore, he needs to remain in the building for some nefarious reasons and not because he's sentimental. So the arbitrator would have to look for additional factors, which is quite right, to see why this old man is stubborn, assuming that he hasn't got Alzheimer's disease and he's rational and that. So, yeah, quite an interesting divergent thinking if we look at it that way. But thanks, that's all I wanted to say.
All right. And finally, you can raise your hands. To those, while people are raising their hands, you can join our VR Digital Citizens on Facebook, Instagram, and now we've got Oh My Brains. And you can see the banner behind you. So thanks a lot for joining. And if anyone else has anything to say, Ali, do you have any final thoughts?
The best would be to try convince him to the best of your ability, I guess. And I'm sure something would work. I mean, he's getting a good offer. Maybe he can get a better house and then go out. And as well, if he was a serial killer and there was enough evidence, I don't think he should be staying in that flat in the first place. He should probably be in jail.
Yeah, the tables have definitely turned. He should move out of his house and straight into jail. No payouts. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining again. We've come to the close of the event, and tell your friends. We'll be sharing the video shortly, so we'll be editing it, and you can take a look at what the event was about. You can also add Ali Altspace VR on Facebook and also here on Altspace. And then we will see you when? Monday for the social dilemma, everyday dilemmas. So thanks a lot for joining, everyone. And we wish to see you next week. Thank you very much. Good Bye. And stick around to have a discussion if you want, of course. My Dilemma Lounge is your Dilemma Lounge.